Hi everyone. In this video, we need to talk about what you are seeing in CanvasWorkspace. Also, how the things that you are seeing are going to cut or translate to the machine. Okay? There are a few things in this video that I'm going to show you that cause a lot of kind of mess ups for people. So you need to make sure that you're seeing everything in Canvas properly and that you have things, in certain cases, have things set up properly. So we're going to start off with this angel. Now, if you just look at this angel, you probably think, well, that's just a silhouette of an angel. That's just going to cut out as this shape, and that's a silhouette of an angel. Well, what often happens, and I have a video just on this one thing in the guide on SVG and other file types of what to do when your SVG file imports all black, because that is a very common thing that happens. And I've had to discuss this in many videos because it applies to a lot of things, or it causes issues in a lot of areas. So we're going to start with that. So I'm going to select this angel. And if I look up here, first of all, my line color is set to transparent. Well, that's not helpful because how am I going to see my cut lines? So I need to change the cut lines to black. But the fill color is set to black, so I still can't see my cut lines. So for now, I'm going to change my fill color to transparent. And look at that. Look at all those cut lines. Now, I know many of you are screaming, you could have seen that under layers. Yes, I am aware. You still need to change it though, so you can see everything that's happening and that you can separate the layers, or you can color the layers different colors if you need to. But another giveaway would have been if I had been under the layers tab. Most of the time, I'm in the edit tab. Okay. That's the default. So when you open Canvas, it's in edit. And that's just usually where I live because most of the things that I do are over here in edit. But if I had come to layers, I would have seen that this has multiple layers even. So it's not, in this case of this design, it isn't just that it has cut lines we can't see. It actually has multiple layers. Okay? Now, of course, if you then want to come in and pick layers and color them, different colors to help you see what's going on, or help you pick the colors that you want to make, the design in, by all means, then you can come in and you can color the layers. Okay? But I always start off with transparent and the line color to black so I can see what is happening. Now, another time when this really causes problems for people is with text. Okay? With text, fonts, typing out words. A lot of you will fill in the words black, and I think it's so you can see it better. And I agree. I do like looking at my work with the text filled in black quite often. It just makes it easier to see, I feel like, and I like looking at it that way. I like looking at the design being made with it filled in black, but you need to be extremely careful doing that. And you need to be extremely careful if this is not a font that you've typed out. If it is a pre-made design that you're importing into Canvas, okay? What happens is so many of you will have writing, okay? You'll have text that looks like this. And you say, well, that's all connected. That's all one word, minus the little dot for the I. But that's all connected. That's going to cut out as all one piece. Well, let's take a look. Our line color is already set to black. Let's change the fill color to transparent. Now, if we take a close look, it is not all one design. Each letter is individual, okay? So I've got the F, and then if you can see it, this little tiny piece is going to cut out. So the F is going to be by himself. Then I'm going to have a little tiny piece. Then this R is going to cut out. He's going to be by himself. Then this little piece is going to cut out of the I. Then the rest of the I is going to be by himself. Then we'll have this little tiny piece here by itself. Then the E is going to cut out. All of this is going to fall apart. Okay? And you're going to have all these little pieces in here, okay, that are cutting out. So you need to be very careful. You need to see your cut lines, okay? you need to see your cut lines. So if you have this the way you want it, that's fine. Once you have it the way you want it, you would come in and you would scroll down under Edit to Weld. But now once you've welded, you cannot change the font. You cannot edit what is here if you misspell something. So be careful, okay? If you want to leave it this way, but go ahead and color it black, sort of to check the design, that's fine. But make sure that you go back and you check it before sending it to the machine to make sure you've welded it, okay? Turn off that color fill or change it back to transparent. Or don't fill it in until you know you have it spelled correctly and you have the correct font. Then go ahead and weld it. Okay? So, you need to be careful with that when you fill in the color on text. All right? Or try filling it in a lighter color, not the black. Maybe that will help you some. That way you can sort of see the word better and kind of see the font really well, but also still see the cut lines. Now, the last thing that we need to discuss with looking at cut lines is when you have something with score lines. Now, I've done a video independently on this, okay? And it is in the guide. Oh my goodness. It is in the guide on score lines, okay? But I want to address it in this video as well, because this video will probably be in a different guide. All right. If you are supposed to have dashed score lines, if you want the dashed lines where the machine cuts the little dashes that you then fold, right? Your score lines, fold lines. If you want them to be little dashes, they need to look like little dashes in Canvas. So if you look at this, these are all solid lines. If you see solid lines, that's how they're going to cut, okay? There's nothing in here that tells, that tells Canvas or tells the machine that certain things are just magically score lines, okay? And the machine doesn't know that this design, that certain things are score lines, and it's not going to magically change it for you. It's going to cut what you're telling it to cut, okay? You're telling it right now that it needs to cut everything as a solid line. So all these pieces are going to fall apart. Okay. Now, I have a video on ways to make multiple score lines. And there are times when you do use solid score lines. Okay. There are times for that. But if you want the little dash lines, it needs to look like little dash lines. So you're going to select those score lines. You're going to come up here and change it to a dash pattern. Now it's dashes. Now that is how it's going to cut. What you see here is what is going to cut. Okay? So same thing with your text. What you see is what is going to cut. You need to tell it exactly what you want it to do. So you need to weld those letters if you want them all connected. You need to make sure they are dashed score lines if that's what you want it to cut. Okay? Nothing is magical in CanvasWorkspace of the machine. It doesn't read your mind. It doesn't know. Some people may not want those letters connected. So if it did it automatically, well, then people would be upset if they wanted them individual. You have to tell it and set it up and to do exactly what you want it to do. Okay? So please be aware of that. Make sure you can see all of your lines so that you understand what is happening. Don't work in just solid black. So many of you will have everything solid black, and then you'll cut and you'll say, well, something fell apart, or this happened or that happened. And then you'll post a picture of it and it'll be all black. And I'll say, well, how can you or us, anyone know what's going on when we can't even see your cut lines? So make sure everything is good. Then if you want to change the color to solid black because you can sort of see things better that way, go ahead and change it to get a feel for how it looks. But then change it back if you need to. Or do not make it black until you feel you have all of your cut lines exactly how you want them. All right? Hopefully that all makes sense. You need to see what you're doing and you need to have it set up properly. It needs to show exactly how you want it cut. So if you want dash lines, you need to be seeing dash lines. If you want it to be all one word, you need to see it as all one word in Canvas. Okay? Questions, comments, concerns, let me know, and I will talk to you later. Bye.